I love the watch and feel it represents tremendous value. There's just one thing that's always stood in its way. Hey guys, it's Alex with Hammond Watch. Here today with the Citizen Promaster NY0086-83L. Now, I'm a really big fan of Citizen dive watches, both automatic and eco drive. I think they represent tremendous value and present great build quality. But this watch in particular is constantly getting compared to the Seiko SKX. And given its Pepsi layout, I mean, that's justified and fair, and I think it's got a leg up in some aspects and not so much in others, and just wanted to kind of walk you through the general specifications and then do a little side-by-side comparison. The case itself is a shade under 42 millimeters. I measure it at 41.9. Your lug to lug is just over 47, 12.5 millimeters thick, and we have a 20 millimeter lug width. You'll notice Divers 200 on the dial, meaning it is an ISO certified dive watch. So you're going to get a unidirectional bezel, a screw down crown, as well as a screw down case back. The automatic movement referenced on the watch's gloss blue dial is Citizen's in-house 8203. You'll see it compared frequently to the 7S26 from Seiko. They have similar accuracy tolerances, similar power reserves. They're both incredibly robust, and while they both have long service intervals, the leg up the 8203 has is that it does offer hand winding where the 7S26 does not. The applied are more likely raised indices, have a really nice polish to them. The shine ties in really well with the luster of the rest of the dial. That also continues with framing around the day-date complication at 3 o'clock, and probably one of my favorite features is still having that 3 o'clock position represented with luminescence. So there's a really nice application of lume on the watch. The indices and hands have a nice icy blue color, and then you have a green pip. I'm a big fan of using a second color on the minutes hand or the pip, as it just makes timing a bit easier in low light situations. The Promaster signed crown is incredibly well executed, and this watch features one of my favorite bezel designs. While it not having a uniform pattern all the way throughout can be a bit divisive, I'm a big fan of when tool watches allow function to kind of take the lead. This type of bezel is much easier to operate with wet or gloved hands as opposed to some of its coin-edged counterparts. While the bezel itself is 60 click, the trade-off that you're getting with this particular watch and with most of them that I've seen is that you end up with great alignment. The strap I have the watch on is aftermarket. I bought a blue silicone strap to put on. You can pick these up on Amazon. They're pretty decent quality. I'm just not a fan of the stock black straps that come on these watches. They're a little bit stiff, you know. I'm sure in time they ease up a little bit, but I'd rather have the watch feel great right away. So here's the watch on my 7.5 to 7 3/4 inch wrist. Fits very nicely. You know, I like, you know, moderate to big dive watches. This certainly leans on the size of moderate. If you've got a smaller wrist and maybe the SKX just doesn't feel right, I think this is a fantastic second option. It's only got a couple of things that I really, you know, wish that they would address. One being I would like a right-hand variant. It's not a huge deal. You know, I can operate the watch fine with my left hand. It just feels a bit awkward. You can always hold it upside down and operate it that way, but I just think it would be nice if they offered both. The other, though, is the bezel insert. Quite frankly, they're just different colors. The dial, as well as the chapter ring, is a very nice deep navy. And then you have almost a purple hue to the insert itself. And it certainly doesn't kill the watch for me, but I watched a couple of videos and looked at numerous pictures and really didn't see anyone address that. And if I had known ahead of time, I would have still bought one of these, but in a different color variant. Because it just bugs me a little bit every time I look down, and it's even worse in natural light. Funny enough, I think the blue on the bezel insert for the Seiko is the exact color I'd want brought in on the Citizen to kind of remedy that mix-match problem. But both are phenomenal watches. You know, I get why they're compared to each other so frequently. You know, competitors in the market, similar spec sheet, you know, mineral crystals, aluminum inserts, automatic movements. They just do different things. You know, the SKX, I think I prefer aesthetically just because it's got more of a vintage vibe to it. But I absolutely recognize that the Citizen represents a lot more value. It's got a better movement and getting that hand winding. You also have a lower price point at $225 to $250, whereas, you know, new SKX models that have climbed over $300. I also think that the execution of the dial and obviously the alignment is much better on the Citizen. So I think the moral of the story for me is just wear the watch you like. You know, pick the one that speaks to you and don't really worry about what anyone else says. If you are considering one of these Citizens, I hope I helped you out, and you know, make sure you get one of them in person and can have a look at that color mix match and make sure that that's not going to be a deal breaker for you. You're not going to have to worry about that on the all black variants or the black and blue or black and green versions. But it's a killer watch, especially if you're looking for something that's a little bit more of a modest feel on the wrist. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. It really helps in YouTube's algorithm. Consider subscribing. I put watch content out weekly at a minimum, and I hope to see you in the next one.